Welcome into HogvilleNET Hoops. Yeah, new name, not me. I'm Kevin McPherson, same name there, and I'm your host as always. By the time you see this, it will be Thursday morning, probably early. I'm actually recording this early on Wednesday evening. I may be getting more source information than I'm waiting on. I'm told it could come late, so I'm recording now with what I know now, what I've been told, update, new intel from a source, but trying to get more added to this. And if I do, then this version will never see the light of day, and it'll be an updated version with more information. If not, and you get this one, that means I didn't get the additional information. It may carry over sometime actually on Thursday. So I'm recording Wednesday evening. Yep, clear as mud as always. You'll see this Thursday morning. All right, here we go. Things continue to be interesting in the world of recruiting. And what do you expect? The early signing period's coming up. You've got teams pushing chips to the middle of the table, trying to get players off, motivated who might wait to the spring, leapfrog if they're not, depending upon the pecking order, if you're on the outside looking in the leaderboard, maybe raising NIL, get you back in a state of play, those kinds of things. Lots going on right now. And that includes the players that John Calipari has targeted and prioritized for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Baba Oladotun, we've been talking a lot about him. Class of 2026, top 10 rated 5-stars, 6'10", versatile guy, man. This guy's going to be a jumbo wing at the NBA level. At the college level, I think he's probably a stretch 4. Former number 1 player in the class of 2027. So the highest rated of 5 stars. Then he reclassed in August right after Nike peached him. We talked about it before that announcement was made public that was likely going to happen. A lot of scuttlebutt going on. And then we had source information that Calipari had known for months it was probably going to happen and was recruiting him and prioritizing him for 2026, even though technically he was 27. And so those are the things that kind of land us where we are now with Oladotun on the doorstep now, Friday. So when you see this Thursday morning, the next day, Friday, October 24th, begins the weekend official visit for Baba Oladotun. Coming off on the heels of the Kentucky visit last weekend. He's previously visited Virginia Tech, where his dad played college basketball back in the 90s. Maryland, the home state school, it was thought the Terrapins and Buzz Williams may be the front runner there for a while. The last time or two we've been on, we've kind of said, I'm not sure about that. We think that this is Arkansas's and Calipari's. As long as Calipari continues to prioritize, obviously you're bringing the player in for official visit. So as of now, he is a top priority. And I think when we looked at reading the tea leaves with backing off of guys like Chase Foster, who ended up committing to Pitt, backing off the Ratliff twins after all that, momentum recruiting those two and on the front line 7-footers, and then offering scholarships and then completely backing away. What I've said is, for weeks now, is that means to me the most likely scenario is Calipari feels really good about Arafat Diane and or Baba Oladotun. And so it's an either or both. One or both. Another way to say that. And Oladotun, certainly we've been saying the last couple of times on, that if, again, Calipari continues to prioritize and pursue, that we think Arkansas is going to end up winning this. We'll have a new source. I say a new source. Another source we haven't talked about in the last couple of days on Oladotun, not really new to me, but new in the conversation, that says Arkansas is the team to beat now for Oladotun. That's how he worded it. I flip that back. You're saying Arkansas is the leader, right? Yeah, they're the team to beat. So Arkansas, according to a source that I just talked to, says that Arkansas is the front runner here going into this weekend, going into this visit. And so this is just like everything else. NIL, if this gets to a point where Calipari's not willing to go, it's outside the valuation range that he's established for Baba Oladotun, then it becomes dicey, and that changes the dynamic. That would not put Arkansas in the lead if the NIL gets to a point where that's what the player is going to make the decision on, and Arkansas is not up to par with something that comes in for the player. Virginia Tech, Maryland, Georgetown, again, he's made all those visits. Those don't seem as likely to be able to, any school can put in as much money on one player as they as they see fit, and Arkansas would probably, if it was outrageous, probably not go there. Calipari's track record has proven that. But Kentucky's the one that you have to think about too, simply because they will. It's pretty well known that they'll spend a lot more than most schools, not only for their entire roster build, but for individual players. And right now, Mark Pope is really trying to make some splashes in the high school recruiting, something he just hasn't quite done yet. So we keep an eye on that. But minus that, everything else, and if Arkansas stays competitive in NIL, I believe now, based on this source, my NBA scout, when we talked about him, saying, well, I don't really know, can't speak in terms of Oladotun with a leader other than I think Calipari gets this done if he's in it for the long run. And I've said the same thing. And so now I've actually got a source that believes Arkansas is the team to beat / is the leader for Baba Oladotun coming into this weekend visit. That is a big deal. And I think Arkansas, if that's the case, and like I said, we're basically on the eve of the visit beginning and then getting through the weekend, Arkansas can get this wrapped up. And I would not be shocked if they're just a hair away from getting a private or silent commitment wrapped up in time, and then soon getting some public announcement in time for the early period. That's another thing that hasn't been 100% clear. Is Oladotun going to get things sewn up early? To me, that's probably the most likely scenario. Otherwise, what are we talking about leaders for right now? Because there's a long way to go if he waits till the spring. And I think there's just a lot of momentum for Arkansas here. And this latest source saying what they did is effectively telling me Arkansas's got a chance to get this sewn up. And again, I go back to Calipari's other moves to back away from other players. Erfan Diani, by the way, this is interesting. He's got that big Houston visit this weekend. Houston, the perceived leader for a while. His guardian, Alex Victor, telling me so. But that Houston has some big picture questions that still must be answered. And, maybe Kelvin Sampson and staff get it done over the weekend and get it wrapped up. That's his last visit. As far as we know, Arkansas is Oladotun's last visit. And I've said Calipari, the most likely scenario after backing off other frontline guys, was he's supremely confident in either one or both of Erfan Diani, the top 10 rated 5-star, the number one center in the country, 7'1" out of Iowa United Prep. And I said one or both of him or Oladotun. Again, 6'10", combo forward, stretch 4. We're going to call him for the college game. And look, Oladotun, this is, yes, he reclassed. Yes, he needs to get stronger. But I've seen him play in person. I've seen him struggle a little bit here and there with physicality and willing his way into the paint. But my goodness, the skill level at 6'10", the ability to, just the crossover dribbles, the shot creation off the dribble, all the way out to the 3-point line. There's some little Kevin Durant vibes in there. People like to throw the Kevin Durant, but because it's the DMV area where Durant's from, I'll make the comparison. Long way to go for Oladotun to be that quality of a player, but look, there are some similarities there. And he's a guy, as he adds strength and learns the nuances of defense, I don't rule out him being somewhere between a Durant and then maybe as he gets stronger and that frame fills out, being able to defend, really defend force at the college level. And then you'll see about the NBA, probably a jumbo wing at the NBA level, but maybe in some small ball lineups would play the 4. Certainly in college, again, I think he's a stretch forward. I think Arkansas now, without being able to say, with full confidence that Arkansas is absolutely the leader and going to sew this up, I think that's probably where it's headed. I'm not convinced that Arkansas's got some kind of silent or private commit. Wouldn't surprise me if they already do. But it also seems to me that it's moving in that direction. So I'll say it that's maybe another way of saying the confidence level continues to grow with Arkansas sealing the deal on Baba Oladotun. Going back to Diani, by the way, Houston is also made the Final 3 for a center that's played in the G League the last couple of years. Out of Egypt, Abdullah Ahmed, and he's down to Houston, Brigham Young, and Mississippi State. So I find that interesting. It's not that you can't go recruit more than one player at that position. I mean, Arkansas's got 2 wings committed in this class already, in J.J. Andrews and Abdou Toure. But at the same time, it does add a little complexity to it, because you wonder if Houston's trying to double down and make sure that they've cast a wide enough net to be safe at the center spot. Maybe they're not so sure they're the leader for Deanne, or maybe they know they're getting Deanne and they just want to, be in the mix on somebody else and add depth. I can't say, but it does add some intrigue to the situation, and then we'll see what happens there. And again, these things are going to play out. I mean, Deanne making his announcement on his birthday, November 19th, the end of the early signing period. It's a week long, the 12th through the 19th. So we're going to find out about him. He's getting it done early. Oladotun, we'll see, but I think if Arkansas's in the lead now again, and you're getting this visit, and this looks like the last visit, things can change in recruiting. But I think you try to get this sewn up if you're John Calipari and get it done early. And if it's going to be something that does somehow push out to the spring, what's the quality in the lead at being the leader this early with so much time to go? To me, to hear that Arkansas's got this kind of momentum makes me feel and believe that this is likely going to conclude soon with a commitment and then get it done in the early period. Again, the game changer in everything, whether it's these 2 or those 3 top 5 rated 5-star guards that Arkansas has pursued, Caleb Holt, Jordan Smith Jr., Brandon McCoy Jr., who as of now, I still think Arkansas is in a lead position, even if it's small, against programs like Michigan and Alabama, where he's also visited. But you may have to wait till the spring for him. Those other 2, Holt and Jordan Smith Jr., those may carry to the spring. Some of their recent visit moves make you wonder, are they really going to, they've said all that, but they're really going to bump it up and get it done early? Maybe, but we don't know that yet. Well, we do know Deanne plans to get it done early, and we think Oladotun likely does. And we feel good about Arkansas's chances with both. Deanne, again, Arkansas's made up so much ground. They were already pretty close in second. And I've got the one NBA scout who thinks it's a coin toss. Basically, co-leaders Arkansas, Houston. Arkansas, again, has pushed all the right buttons. They had a strong NIL offer for Deanne. They had a great visit with him. And there are other things that fit. The connections with Toure, both played on the Guinea junior national team. The chemistry between, in a few opportunities, playing with J.J. Andrews, that the Guardian always brings up when he talks to me about that chemistry and how that favors Arkansas. He's told me there are folks in Deanne's camp who want Arkansas to be the choice. So there's a lot of things going for Arkansas there. And again, now the likelihood, in my opinion, now that Arkansas leads, at least for now, for Oladotun and probably his last visit. The only thing to me now that moves that away from Arkansas is some NIL position coming from somewhere else that Calipari's not willing to meet. And then with Deanne, I like Arkansas's chances. I'm not going to say Arkansas's the leader there. I've not said that once. But, man, I really do believe it's effectively a neck-and-neck situation with Houston. And then we'll see the weekend visit to Houston. Does that push Sampson and the Cougars, into the kind of lead coming down here down the stretch that gets that wins in the end? And certainly that's possible. I'm not going to call you, but I won't go as far as to say that that's likely right now. Because, again, I think they've got some big questions to answer, not little ones. And when I heard that, that tells me that Arkansas is in a good position there, if not dead even or in the lead. I know that's clear as mud, but that's how recruiting is, especially when there's so much information flying around and teams jockeying. I mean, Indiana's pushing NIL money and trying to get in the Arafan Deanne sweepstakes. They've been in it to the point where they were in his final 5 and got a visit this last weekend. But they're trying to raise the stakes. And again, I say this all the time, those kind of things can upset the apple cart in terms of who you think's leading. Now, all of a sudden, it does become a bidding war. And always remember, Calipari's going to have limits on that. And so you can't lose out on a player who you're not willing to bring in for whatever reason. And NIL is a big consideration, especially given that Calipari wants to disperse those monies to build a roster and not just land one or two guys to win a recruiting battle, even if they're really good, because he's going to still get quality. At the end of the day, I think Arkansas at minimum gets one of Erfan Diane and Baba Oladotun. Won't be surprised if they get both. And they're not the same positionally. Diane, the number one center in the country, a skilled five, big body. And then again, Oladotun, a very skilled, more of a finesse perimeter player, but a lot of room to grow and develop, get stronger, to be a more well-rounded player on that front line, especially defensively. But they would complement each other playing together, and that's the point. One guy's your stretch four, the other is the five. You got a couple of really good wings committed, and then you see, do you have to wait to the spring to try to get and be the choice for one of those top rated five-star guards? Again, I think with Brandon McCoy Jr. right now seeming to be the best chance there, can you get him to go get it done early? Do you have to wait? And then if you have to wait and play the long game, can you stay in that front position? But we've always said that Calipari, even though he talks about 3 or 4 out of the high school ranks per recruiting cycle, the dominoes fall the right way. He'll get to 5. And I think these would be the 5. Not saying there's not another way to get there, but just if Arkansas truly leads for Oladotun, truly leads for McCoy, and right there on Diane, and they've already got the other 2 committed, J.J. Andrews and Torrey, I think Calipari, if he can get those other 3 that we just went through, he'll do that and get to 5. And I think if you can get to 3 or 4 for the earlier period, even if you have to wait till the spring, I think it makes things interesting because Arkansas has been a shallow portal season recruiting program under Calipari. They've taken no more than 2 out of the portal in each cycle. Technically more the first year because the Kentucky guys that were really retention for Calipari had to transfer to Arkansas. But, we've talked about this. And so having said that, we know Calipari's not bashful about waiting to the spring. He did that with Nate Ament in the last recruiting cycle. Yes, that landed with Tennessee, but the point is there's enough track record here to see that Calipari, even if he only gets to 3 or 4 in the early period, he'll play the long game if he has to, and not just make the spring about portal recruiting, but try to land at least 1 or 2 more if that's how long it takes out of the high school ranks. All right, nearly 18 minutes in. Thank you for joining me on HogvilleNET Hoops. That's the new name. We don't do lives anymore. I used to call it HogvilleNET Live. We don't do many of those. We'll still do some. But we talk hoops mostly. By the way, we had a presser today on Zoom with Darius Acuff Jr., Arkansas freshman guard, to preview that exhibition game against Cincinnati. Some really interesting things came out of that. Talking about playing with DJ. He said they mostly compete against each other in practice. Well, we've known that. And so that's kind of the perspective he has on it. And we're about to find out what that really looks like because I think both of those guys start in the backcourt together. But he talked about the other 2 freshmen, Isaiah Seeley, Malik Thomas, and really gave rave reviews for just about everybody. Talked about Malik Ewan on the front line and what a great ball handler and passer he is. A lot of guard qualities for a 6'10" big man. But he said he was asked about playing with certain players. He said, hey, I play well together with everybody. I kind of see everybody as a great teammate. I mean, he's saying the things you're supposed to say, but I think showed a lot of maturity in this interview. Talked about the game on the road and at the end of the first week of the regular season. So we're a couple of weeks out, really not even 3 weeks out from that November 8th road game on a Saturday in East Lansing, Michigan. Well, he's a Detroit native. Said he thinks his whole family will be there. So, really looking ahead for Darius Acuff Jr. in this freshman season, he's a guy that just finally picked up some preseason All-SEC honors from Sports Illustrated. The SEC media didn't see fit to put him on the first, second, or third team. Okay, but this is a guy that has the qualities and the ability and the potential to be a first-team All-SEC player. And so we'll see how it translates. What are the things that he was working on that he was asked? And he said defense. Well, that's what we've said is the biggest question mark for Darius Acuff Jr. is the defensive end. We think on offense, as a scorer in his drive game, as a facilitator in the two-man, the DHO, other scenarios where he's using creativity to pick and choose to either get a shot up or find a teammate. We think he's going to be just fine there. The three-point shooting was a question mark. He's looked good in the limited stuff we've seen in scrimmage work. When you go back to the tip-off scrimmage in Hot Springs, where we got 40 minutes total, some of the stuff during Pro Day that was competitive, he did a good job shooting the three. I think defense, and he talked about that. He said that's something that he's focused on. He said the team has watched film of Cincinnati's upset exhibition road win over number 7 Michigan a few days ago, 100-98. So they were able to watch that. He's looking forward to it. He said one of the biggest things, what every player says, we've been playing against each other for so long, we're ready to play somebody else. He's also excited about playing at Bud Walton Arena. He understands what that likely brings once they start playing real games in there. He's not confused about how special that place can be. So really good stuff from him. By the way, later tonight or this evening after 5 p.m., this is weird. It's the latest they've ever done this. But Billy Richmond III is going to do a Zoom presser. Usually these are done in the morning or right around noon, but they're doing it after 5 o'clock Central Time on later tonight. So when this airs Thursday morning, it'll be later tonight. But Billy Richmond III is going to come on and preview the Memphis game, which is the St. Jude's Charity Exhibition on Monday, October 27th. So bookending the weekend, Cincinnati home at BWA, then Memphis on the road. And that's where Billy Richmond III, that's his hometown. He's from Memphis, and so it makes sense that he's going to preview that. So far, we don't have anyone on the staff. Typically, they join on these Zooms to preview, but maybe they're just going to do players this time. And these are exhibition games, so that's fine. But I thought Darius Acuff handled his business well earlier today. But at any rate, this was mostly a recruiting update. And then we will have a full preview show for the exhibition game against Cincinnati. That'll probably come out either later tonight, or I'll do that on Friday morning before I head up to the Hill. I'll be in Fayetteville to cover that game. Baba Oladotun will be in town to begin his visit. He will attend that game. And when he goes into this visit, I'm told, with Arkansas as the team to beat, the leader, we'll see if that's true or not. We're going to find out soon enough. We're also going to find out about Irfan Diane, and we hope to find out sooner rather than later on someone like Brandon McCoy Jr. or Jordan Smith Jr. or Caleb Holt. Some of these may seem more likely than others, but if some of these guys do wait till the spring, it gives you opportunities to change the landscape there if that's the way you want to go. And John Calipari, again, I say it all the time, the greatest to ever do it. Arkansas is not finished yet, and there are some big-time players that he's going to get committed, whether it's 1 more, 2 more, or 3 more. Arkansas is going to be just fine in a recruiting class right now that's effectively a top 5 class as it stands. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Appreciate everyone here. Be great in all your endeavors. Next time, we'll see you.